Imagine this for a moment. You're standing at the edge of your greatest potential. The future you dream of is right there, waiting. But there's a problem. It's not that you lack talent. It's not that you lack opportunity. The truth is this: most people don't fail because of what they're not doing. They fail because of what they refuse to stop doing. Success is not just about addition, it's about subtraction. If you don't eliminate the habits that are silently holding you back, no amount of effort will push you forward. Today, I will give you 5 powerful things you must stop doing immediately if you want to succeed. And I promise you this if you pay attention until the end. One of these will hit you so hard, it could change the direction of your entire life. Most people believe that success is only about adding more things to their lives. More skills, more connections, more opportunities, more money, more knowledge. And while growth absolutely requires learning and gaining new abilities, the truth that very few people ever come to understand is this: real success is more about elimination than addition. It's not always about what you're doing sometimes, it's about what you refuse to stop doing. Think about your life as a container. That container only has so much space. You can pour in more ambition, more goals, and more discipline. But if the container is already filled with fear, doubt, procrastination, excuses, and toxic habits, then no matter how much more you try to add, it will overflow and nothing will stick. Success is not just about adding to your life, it's about making room for the things that actually matter. This is why you see so many people working hard, learning more, and trying everything they can, yet staying in the same place year after year. It's not because they aren't doing enough. It's because they aren't letting go of the wrong things. You cannot rise while holding on to weights that keep you down. You cannot fly with baggage that doesn't belong to you. If you truly want to succeed, you must look at your life with honesty and ask, what do I need to stop doing right now? For example, you might have the dream of building a business. You watch videos, you read books, you attend seminars, you keep adding knowledge. But at the same time, you are still wasting hours every day scrolling through distractions, hanging out with people who don't believe in you, and giving excuses for why you haven't started. In this case, it's not the lack of information that's stopping you, it's the refusal to eliminate the time, wasting habits and toxic influences that are stealing your energy. Success demands space. Imagine trying to plant seeds in a garden full of weeds. It doesn't matter how much water or sunlight you give those seeds. The weeds will always choke them. Life works the same way. You can plant all the seeds of hard work, discipline, and vision. But if you don't remove the weeds, fear, doubt, excuses, toxic environments, your success will always struggle to grow. And here's the most dangerous thing sometimes: what you need to eliminate is not even obvious. It could be small habits that feel harmless, like constantly saying, I'll do it tomorrow, or always waiting for motivation instead of creating discipline. These little patterns, when left unchecked, quietly rob you of years of progress. It's not always the giant obstacles that stop people from succeeding. It's the small, consistent habits that drain their energy day by day. So the question is not just, what more can I do to succeed? But also, what must I stop doing to succeed? What destructive thinking do you need to cut off? What excuses do you need to stop making? Which people in your life do you need to distance yourself from? What time-wasting distractions must you eliminate? Until you are willing to subtract, no amount of addition will bring you closer to your dreams. The people who rise to greatness are not always the most talented or the most gifted. They are the ones who had the courage to let go. They stopped waiting for the perfect moment. They stopped surrounding themselves with negativity. They stopped wasting energy on things that didn't serve their vision. And once they eliminated what didn't belong, success had room to grow. So remember this: success is not just about doing more, it's about doing less of what destroys you. when you begin to eliminate what holds you back. Word. Everything you add to your life finally has the space to flourish. That is the first and most powerful step toward true success. Word. One of the most destructive habits that quietly kills success is comparison. Word. We live in a world where it is almost impossible to avoid seeing what others are doing. Every day, you open your phone, scroll through social media, and there it is. Someone celebrating a new job, someone buying a new house, someone showing off their new body, their new car, their new relationship. Word. And without even realizing it, you begin to measure yourself against them. Suddenly, your progress doesn't feel like progress anymore. What once felt like a win now feels small. Word. Because you're not comparing it to who you were yesterday. You're comparing it to someone else's highlight reel today. But here's the truth. Comparison is a thief. It steals your joy, it steals your focus, and it steals your confidence. Success is not a race you run against other people. It is a journey you take against your own potential. The moment you start looking sideways at what everyone else is doing, you lose sight of the path that was designed for you. And the danger of comparison is that it never ends, no matter how far you go. There will always be someone who seems ahead of you, richer than you, more talented than you, or more successful than you. If you live by comparison, you will never feel fulfilled because the finish line will always move. Think about it. Word. The person you're comparing yourself to is also comparing themselves to someone else. The celebrity you envy looks up to another celebrity. The millionaire you admire might feel insecure next to a billionaire. It never ends. And if you let this cycle control your thinking, you will spend your whole life chasing someone else's shadow instead of creating your own light. Word. What you must understand is that every person is running a different race. Some people started earlier than you. Some people had different resources. Word. Different opportunities, different struggles, and different blessings. You cannot compare your chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 20. You cannot measure your seed by another person's tree. Just because someone has fruit now doesn't mean your seed won't grow tomorrow. Word. Success has its own timing, and your journey is unique. When you compare yourself to others, you often ignore what you already have. You overlook the progress you've made, the battles you've already won, and the growth you've already achieved. It blinds you to your blessings. Word. And here's the sad truth. Many people lose the joy of their present moment because they are too busy staring at someone else's life. Word. They never celebrate themselves. They never acknowledge their own growth. And as a result, they never feel enough. Word. But the only real comparison that matters is this. Are you better today than you were yesterday? Have you grown, even just a little, from the person you used to be? If the answer is yes, then you are succeeding. Because true success is not about being ahead of others. Word. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. And once you understand that, you begin to walk with peace. You no longer feel threatened by someone else's success because you realize their success doesn't reduce yours. There is enough room at the top for everyone. So stop comparing your path, your pace, and your progress to others. Word. The only person you are in competition with is yourself. The only race you need to win is against the old version of you. When you focus on your lane, word, your growth, your vision, and your progress, success comes naturally because you are no longer distracted by what everyone else is doing. Remember this, word. Comparison wastes energy that could have been used to build your own greatness. Turn that energy inward, invest it in yourself, word, and watch your life transform. If you want to succeed, one of the most urgent things you must do is examine the people you allow into your life. Your environment is more powerful than your intentions. No matter how strong, motivated, or disciplined you believe you are, word. If you surround yourself with the wrong people, they will eventually shape your thoughts, your actions, and even your destiny. Success is not just about what you do, it's about who you choose to walk with while you do it. Negative people are like anchors. They don't always look heavy at first, but slowly, They drag you down until you can no longer move forward. These are the people who mock your dreams, word. Who always see problems instead of solutions, who remind you of your past failures whenever you attempt something new, word. And the danger is that their negativity doesn't just stay with them, it seeps into you. The more you listen, the more you start to believe them. Suddenly, you're not just carrying your own doubts, you're carrying theirs too. The truth is, you cannot rise while being pulled down. Energy is contagious, word. Spend enough time around complainers, and you'll find yourself complaining too. Surround yourself with people who are always afraid, and you'll notice fear growing in your own decisions. But when you surround yourself with dreamers, visionaries, builders, and believers, you'll begin to think bigger, act bolder, and live braver. That is the power of environment. It either lifts you or limits you, word. Some people will never see your potential, not because it isn't there, but because they are blind to greatness, even in themselves, word. If someone has given up on their own dreams, they will try to convince you to give up on yours too. Misery loves company. And if you're not careful, word, you'll find yourself adjusting your vision downward to make others comfortable, instead of stretching your vision upward to meet your true destiny. You must learn to protect your energy. This doesn't mean you hate negative people. It means you choose wisely who gets your time, your ear, and your spirit. There is a difference between being compassionate and being careless. Compassion says, I love you, but I cannot allow your negativity to live inside my space. Carelessness says, I let you drain me even if it costs me my future. Protecting your environment is not selfish. It's necessary for growth. Think about an eagle. Eagles fly high above storms, not because the storms don't exist, but because they refuse to stay where the storm is strongest, word. If you want to live at higher levels, you cannot keep flocking with crows and pigeons who are comfortable staying low. Sometimes the greatest act of courage is walking away from the people who are holding you back. This may be difficult, because sometimes negative people are close to you. They may be friends, colleagues, or even family, word. But you must understand that you don't have to cut people off to create boundaries. You simply have to limit their influence. Spend less time listening to those who belittle your goals, and more time with those who inspire them. Distance yourself from those who drain you, and connect with those who fuel you. At the end of the day, your future is too important to gamble on the wrong company, word. Who you allow into your circle will either sharpen your vision or shatter it. Success requires courage, focus, and determination, but all of that can be destroyed if you surround yourself with negativity. So make a decision today, word. Stop giving your energy to people who don't believe in your future. Surround yourself with those who push you higher, word. And you will discover that success becomes not just possible, but inevitable. Excuses are the comfort zone of failure. They are the stories we tell ourselves to justify why we are not where we want to be. Excuses sound harmless, sometimes even reasonable, word. But make no mistake, they are deadly to success. Every excuse is a wall that keeps you locked away from your potential. And the truth is, word, most people are not held back by lack of opportunity, talent, or resources. They are held back by the excuses they've convinced themselves to believe. Excuses are easy. They allow you to avoid responsibility. They make you feel safe in mediocrity. It's easier to say, I didn't have the time, than to admit, I wasted my time. It's easier to say, I wasn't given the chance, than to confess, word, I didn't prepare myself for the chance. Excuses are nothing more than lies dressed in rational words, word, designed to keep you comfortable instead of accountable. But here's what excuses do not do. They do not move you forward. They don't put food on the table. They don't build your dreams. They don't create opportunities. They don't open doors, word. Excuses will never give you progress. They will only give you permission to stay the same. And the longer you hold on to them, word, the more they begin to feel like truth. But in reality, they are just chains keeping you from the freedom of success. Word. If you look at the lives of people who have achieved great things, one common factor stands out: they refuse to give excuses. They didn't always have perfect conditions. Many of them started with nothing, no resources, no support, no guarantees. Word. But they decided to find a way instead of finding an excuse. They understood that excuses might comfort you for a moment, but they will cost you a lifetime. Word. What's interesting about excuses is that they usually disguise themselves as legitimate reasons. Word. I can't start this business because I don't have enough money. I can't get fit because I don't have time to exercise. I can't chase my dreams because people don't support me. These may sound like reasons, but if you look closer, they are excuses. Because somewhere in the world, someone with less money started a business. Someone with less time got fit. Someone without support built their dreams. The difference is not the resources they had, it was their refusal to make excuses. The moment you stop making excuses, you take back your power. Excuses hand your power over to circumstances, but responsibility hands your power back to you. Word. Responsibility says, I may not control everything, but I will control my choices. And success always responds to responsibility. Every time you make an excuse, you are giving yourself a reason to stay stuck. But every time you take responsibility, you are giving yourself permission to grow. Think about this. If you failed yesterday, you can either make an excuse or learn a lesson. One keeps you chained to the past, the other pushes you into the future. Excuses freeze you in regret, responsibility frees you into possibility. Word. That's why the most successful people do not waste energy defending why they didn't do something. They use their energy to figure out how they can do it better next time. If you want to succeed, you must silence the voice of excuses in your mind. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop blaming others. Stop postponing your life. There will always be obstacles. There will always be challenges. There will always be reasons to quit. But if you live by excuses, you will never experience the life you were meant to live. Replace excuses with action. Word. And you will discover that the door to success was never locked. It was only waiting for you to stop explaining and start moving. Word. One of the greatest enemies of success is not the competition, not the lack of opportunity, and not even failure itself. It is self-doubt. Word. Doubt is the silent killer of dreams. It whispers in your mind that you are not enough, that you don't have what it takes, that others are better, smarter, or more qualified than you. And the more you listen, the more you begin to shrink your vision, lower your standards. Word. And play small in a world that was waiting for you to play big. Word. Self-doubt is powerful because it doesn't need evidence to convince you. It only needs repetition. If you keep telling yourself you can't, eventually you will believe it, even if you once had the ability. The mind is like fertile soil. Whatever you plant there grows. If you plant seeds of doubt, you will harvest fear, hesitation, and wasted potential. If you plant seeds of belief, you will harvest courage, determination, and results. Word. The problem is that many people spend their lives watering doubt instead of faith in themselves. Word. Think about how many opportunities people lose every day because of self-doubt. They don't apply for the job because they assume they won't be chosen. They don't start the business because they assume it will fail. They don't speak up because they assume their voice doesn't matter. And yet, in all of these cases, it was never the lack of ability that stopped them. It was the presence of doubt. Word. Doubt is like a thief that robs you before you even step onto the battlefield. What makes doubt so dangerous is that it disguises itself as wisdom. It will tell you, be realistic, don't take risks, don't aim too high. But what it is really saying is, stay small, don't grow, don't even try. True wisdom is not the absence of risk, it is the ability to face risk with preparation and courage. Doubt, however, wants you to avoid risk altogether, which means you avoid growth altogether. And without growth, success is impossible. You must understand that confidence is not about knowing everything. Confidence is not arrogance, and it is not perfection. Word. Confidence is simply the belief that you are capable of learning, adapting, and overcoming. It is the inner voice that says, even if I don't know everything right now, I can figure it out. Even if I fall, I can get back up. Even if I fail, I can grow stronger. That belief is what separates those who rise from those who remain stuck. The people you admire, the ones who seem fearless, are not free from doubt. They just learned not to obey it. They feel the same fear, the same uncertainty, but instead of letting doubt silence them, they take action anyway. And that is the secret. Doubt only grows when you feed it with inaction. The more you hesitate, the louder doubt becomes. Word. The more you move forward, the quieter it gets. Action is the cure for self-doubt. If you want to succeed, you must stop doubting yourself. Stop waiting for someone else to validate you. Stop looking for external approval before you begin. The fact that you are alive, breathing, word, and carrying a vision within you is proof enough that you are capable. Your dreams were not given to you by accident, word. They were entrusted to you because you have within you everything required to bring them to life. So, silence the voice that says you can't. Replace it with the voice that says you will. Doubt may knock on your door, but you do not have to invite it in. Believe in your potential, word. Believe in your vision and believe in the process. When you stop doubting yourself and start believing, word, you unlock the courage to take the steps that lead to your destiny. And that, more than anything else, is the foundation of success. One of the clearest dividing lines between those who succeed and those who remain stuck is responsibility. Success is never built on reasons. It is built on results. And the only way to create results is to take full ownership of your life. Responsibility is not always easy. It is not always comfortable, but it is the foundation upon which every achievement stands. Without responsibility, talent is wasted. Opportunities slip away, and potential is never realized. When you blame others, when you blame circumstances, word. When you constantly look for reasons outside of yourself, you hand away your power. You place your future in someone else's hands, word. But when you choose responsibility, you reclaim that power. Responsibility says, I may not control everything around me, but I control my response. I may not choose the challenges that come my way, word, but I choose how I rise to meet them. That mindset is what turns struggle into strength and failure into growth. Word. The problem is that many people prefer reasons over results. Reasons are easy. They comfort you when you fall short. Word. They make you feel like your lack of progress is justified. I didn't have time. I didn't get the support I needed. The circumstances weren't right. These reasons might sound convincing, but they do nothing for your future. You can pile up reasons for years, and you will still be standing in the same place. Results, on the other hand, word, don't come from reasons. They come from responsibility. Responsibility forces you to stop asking, why didn't it work for me? And start asking, what can I do to make it work? That single shift changes everything. It moves you from a victim of your environment to a creator of your destiny. Every time you take responsibility, you give yourself the opportunity to change, to adapt, to learn, and to improve. Every time you reject responsibility, you stay locked in the same cycle of excuses and stagnation. Consider the difference between two people facing the same setback. One says, it didn't happen because of them, because of that, because of this. They spend all their energy pointing outward, and as a result, they change nothing. The other says, what could I have done differently? How can I grow from this? What steps can I take now? That person begins to evolve, and because they evolve, their life begins to shift. Success is not about perfection. It is about accountability. And here's the truth: responsibility is not a burden, it is freedom. When you live by excuses, you are stuck waiting for the world to change in your favor. But when you take responsibility, you don't wait, you act. Word. You no longer need everything to be perfect. You simply use what you have and move forward. Word. Responsibility takes you out of the passenger seat and places you firmly behind the wheel of your life. This doesn't mean life will be easy. Responsibility does not remove challenges. It equips you to overcome them. It doesn't erase failure. It allows you to learn from it. Word. Responsibility is the discipline of saying, no matter what happens, I will find a way to grow. And that is why the most successful people, word, no matter how many times they fall, always rise again. They know that blaming the world won't build their future, but taking responsibility will. If you want results, you must let go of reasons. Stop defending your limitations. Stop telling stories that excuse your stagnation. Word. Every time you give a reason, you choose comfort over growth. But every time you take responsibility, you choose progress over excuses. And that choice, repeated daily, is what leads to lasting success. Fear is one of the most powerful forces in life. And yet it is completely invisible until it has already taken control. It hides behind hesitation, procrastination, and self-sabotage. Word. Convincing you that staying safe is better than stepping forward. But the truth is that fear is often nothing more than an illusion. Word. A shadow cast by uncertainty and doubt. And the moment you let it dictate your choices, you place the boundaries of your life in its hands. Every great achievement, every leap forward, every moment of growth has required one thing: courage to act despite fear. Most people mistake fear for a signal to stop. They believe that the presence of fear means danger, that hesitation equals wisdom, word, and that comfort equals security. But in reality, fear is often a signal that you are on the edge of growth, word. It appears exactly when you are about to do something important, something that could elevate your life, something that challenges the familiar, word. Fear is the mind's way of testing your commitment, and if you avoid action because of it, you remain trapped in the same cycle of mediocrity. Consider how often fear shows up in your life. You might hesitate to speak up for yourself, to start a new project, or to pursue a dream because you imagine failure, rejection, or embarrassment. That fear, if unchecked, grows like a weed, spreading doubt and anxiety through every area of your life. It whispers, "Not now. Wait until you're ready. Someone else is better. It's too risky." And the longer you listen, the louder it becomes, until it drowns out your courage entirely. But what you must understand is that fear is not a stop sign. It is a challenge, word. It is an invitation to prove to yourself that you are stronger than the voice telling you to quit. The key is not to eliminate fear. Fear will always exist, but to refuse to let it control your decisions. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is action in the presence of fear. Every successful person you admire has felt fear, yet they acted anyway. They understood that the cost of inaction, word, the cost of letting fear run their life, was far greater than the temporary discomfort of facing it. Fear is temporary, but regret lasts a lifetime, word. The moments you avoid because of fear become memories you wish you could rewrite. When fear appears, ask yourself, what is the worst that could happen, word. And then ask, what is the best that could happen if I act despite it? Fear loses its grip when you focus on opportunity instead of limitation. Fear thrives in imagination. It grows when you visualize failure, but courage grows in action. Every small step you take against fear builds momentum. Every time you move forward despite trembling, you prove to yourself that you are capable, resilient, and unstoppable. The life you desire, the goals you are capable of achieving, exist on the other side of fear. Fear will always try to convince you to stay where you are, but growth, success, and fulfillment demand that you rise above it. The decision is yours to remain trapped in comfort and limitation, or to step boldly into the unknown. Knowing that every time you face fear, you are one step closer to the person you are meant to become. Stop letting fear control your decisions. Stop giving it the power to define your future. Take action, move forward, and let courage, not fear, dictate the course of your life. But the moment you choose courage over fear, you unlock doors that were previously invisible. And you discover that the life you imagined is not just possible, it is waiting for you to claim it. Consistency is the silent force behind every success story. It is not talent, luck, word, or sudden inspiration that separates those who achieve greatness from those who don't. It is the relentless word. Disciplined repetition of the right actions over time. Most people underestimate the power of consistency because it does not offer immediate gratification. It asks you to show up day after day, even when motivation fades, even when progress feels invisible, even when the results seem distant. But this very act, simply showing up consistently, is what compounds into extraordinary success. Think of consistency as the engine of momentum. Every small, disciplined action is like a single push that slowly sets your life in motion. On its own, it may appear insignificant. One day of hard work, one decision to focus, one act of persistence may not change anything immediately. But when repeated consistently, those small actions accumulate, layer by layer until the results are undeniable. Success is rarely explosive. It is a process, a build-up, a result of compounding effort. What looks like luck to the outside world is almost always the result of consistency over time. The problem is that most people are inconsistent. They start with passion and energy, but as soon as challenges arise, as soon as excitement fades, they give up. They expect overnight results and are frustrated when the world does not bend to their timeline. But life does not reward sporadic effort. It rewards steadfast dedication. The person who pushes forward despite fatigue, doubt, or obstacles is the one who ultimately achieves. Small daily disciplines, repeated without fail, are what create mastery, wealth, health, and influence. Consistency also builds trust with yourself and with others. When you consistently follow through, you develop a reputation for reliability. People start to recognize your commitment, and opportunities naturally follow. But even more importantly, consistency builds self-trust. Each time you honor your word to yourself, each time you complete the task you set out to do, you reinforce a sense of discipline and self-confidence that cannot be taken away. Without consistency, intentions remain dreams. With consistency, dreams become reality. Many people try to skip the process and chase shortcuts. They look for instant success, viral fame, or overnight breakthroughs. But even the most talented individuals cannot escape the laws of compounding. Every expert, every millionaire, every leader you admire reached their position through repeated, disciplined effort. They understood that every small action, every small improvement, multiplies over time. If you want lasting results, you cannot rely on occasional bursts of effort. You must commit to showing up day in and day out. Consistency is also what strengthens resilience. When you commit to the process, setbacks no longer derail you. You understand that a single failure is just a moment in a longer journey. Each day that you persist, each time you continue despite obstacles. Your progress compounds, making every setback smaller and every victory larger. Consistency teaches patience and perseverance. Two qualities that are far more valuable than temporary bursts of motivation. Success is not built in a day, but it is built every day. The decisions you make consistently, the habits you nurture consistently, the effort you give consistently. This is what compounds into results that are far greater than you can imagine. If you want to achieve more, be more, and live more, commit to consistency. Let it become your way of life. Show up every day, take the right actions, and watch as your small, steady steps transform into a life of extraordinary success. Success is not just about what you start doing. It's about what you stop doing. Remove the distractions, silence the doubts, and cut off the dead weight. The moment you stop doing these 5 things, you unlock the freedom to succeed. Your future doesn't start tomorrow. It starts with the decisions you make today.